Billions of pounds of taxpayers' money have been wasted on asylum hotels because of a failed, chaotic and expensive system imposed by the Home Office, MPs say.
Well, it comes as the government faced fresh anger over their use this weekend after the accidental release of Hadush Kabatu, who sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl and a woman whilst living in a migrant hotel in Epping. Housing Secretary Steve Reid joins us now. Good morning to you. It's a real worry, isn't it? The billions, it says, lost to flawed hotel deals for migrants. We know that the cost of these contracts has now tripled to some £15.3 billion. The Home Office has failed to collect £46 million owed from companies. So people will be rightly angry, won't they, about the amount of money that's actually being wasted at a time when we desperately need every penny.
Yeah, well, good morning. And yes, people will be angry, and we're all angry about this because the asylum system we inherited is absolutely broken. You have to look at why it's broken and then what we're doing to fix it. The reason we're in this mess is because the previous government chose to stop processing asylum seeker applications. The numbers piled up, and then they started booking up these hotels with the contracts that we've inherited. So our job is to reduce it. Now, the number of hotels is now half of what it was when it was at its peak, but we want to eliminate it entirely. So the Home Secretary is working across government to identify places like disused military bases where you could put modular buildings rapidly and house people there to get them out of the hotels. That will lower the bill and it will deal with some of the social cohesion issues that we've seen where the use of hotels has become difficult for particular localities. But we've also increased by hundreds the number of caseworkers that are dealing with applications. That means that we can remove people faster who have no right to be here, and 35,000 have been removed. Now that's a record, and of course we've signed the one-in, one-out deal with France. That means that you can return people who have no right to be here back to where they came from. All of that will help, but it's work in progress. It's not job done. We know that.
And just to be clear, you know, you have pledged to end this hotel use, and so people are clear about where then people are going to be housed. You're talking there about, you know, disused military bases, for example, but there is also suggestion, isn't there, that there'll be dispersal accommodation in communities. So is that something that you're looking at as well? So people may well think, OK, we're going to see the end of the asylum hotels, but do people then have to look at the situation where actually migrants will potentially be housed in communities, in houses near them?
Well, some of that is going on, yes, and that would be part of the solution. Where housing is cheap and available, then it makes sense to put people there at lower cost rather than in hotels at a higher cost. But we want a long-term solution. I think disused military bases are a very good one. The government's working on that now. The details aren't yet complete, but when they are, of course, I or one of my colleagues will come out and talk to you about how that will work. But we also want to stop the problem of the numbers that are coming over. You've seen how tough that has been already, but we did secure the one-in, one-out deal with France. That means people can be returned, and we are processing applications faster so that we can remove people who have no right to be here more quickly. And
one
that's what
in,
we're
one
doing.
out, one back again, isn't it? It's not looking great for that system at the moment.
Well, no, weirdly. I'm glad you raised that point, because actually that's a side of the system working, because the individual was removed from the country, paid a people smuggler to get him back in again, was apprehended and now will be deported. That's what will keep happening to people who try to get back in. It shows the system is working. That individual has basically wasted their money, but it shows that we're apprehending people and removing them where they have no right to be here.
It's a drop in the ocean.
That's as it should be.
It is a drop in the ocean, though, isn't it, when we look at the figures of people that are coming over and how we're dealing with them and the cost of that?
It is but of course it's a pilot. The intention is you learn from the pilot and then you scale it up. So there's a number of things we need to do. End the use of hotels, stop people coming over, process applications faster and remove those with no right to be here quicker. All of that is now being done. All of that is in train, but we know it's not job done yet. We know the system is broken. We know that billions are being wasted. I mean, there's some good news in this, in that the government has reduced the costs by £1 billion already, but there's much further to go.
Turning to housing, you are making an announcement today, cracking down on people who are forced to live in unsanitary, unsafe, mouldy houses.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shocking situation, Ed, as you'll as you'll know, but the new law coming into force today is called Awab's Law, and it's named after Awab Ishak, who died a few days after his second birthday because his parents' social landlord had ignored for 2 years their complaints about the levels of mould and damp in their property and the impact that was having on their baby's health. The baby died because they didn't respond. The new law coming into force today requires social landlords to act within 24 hours in cases like that, otherwise they will end up in court. And it's quite right that we should take action given the severity of what happened. I've had cases in my own constituency, happily not involving death, but where people have been stuck in flats with dangerous levels of mould, and that's not just a danger for babies, it's people with various health conditions and vulnerabilities, older people with respiratory problems. None of them deserve to live in property like
and
that.
For our
from
viewers,
today,
just to understand, if my landlord's not a social landlord, but a private landlord, and if my landlord says, I'm really sorry, I can't afford to do anything about it without putting your rent up, what do I do?
Well, this is phase one, Ed. We're going to extend it. So there's a new law coming into force in a few days' time, we believe, when it gets royal assent. It's already been through Parliament, called the Renters' Rights Act, and that will extend, when we publish the guidance and a timetable to do it, it will extend this right to tenants of private landlords as well. But it also stops private landlords imposing unfair rent increases. So for millions of people who live in rented accommodation, this is a big step forward in their rights. It covers the issue about damp and mould, but it covers other issues as well, like unfair rent increases, but also unfair, evictions, no notice evictions.
And one other question about housing, because you've been very clear. You are going to deliver 1.5 million homes this Parliament. You said, you'll be accountable, that you will take the blame if it doesn't happen. Last week, with Sadiq Khan in London, you announced, in order to get the homes built, the number of affordable houses in London, your target is being dropped from 35% to 20%. Does that mean across the rest of the country in the coming months, in order to get to that 1.5 million target, you are going to be building much fewer affordable homes?
No, we're going to build more affordable homes, Ed. So the situation is the costs of building have gone up for developers. Things like concrete, steel, the cost of labour, energy have all gone up. So they can no longer afford to build those big blocks with that level of affordable. So they're building nothing, and 35% of nothing is nothing. So we're seeing 1/3 of the boroughs in London last year built no new social and affordable homes. By lowering their costs, we get spades in the ground, we get building work happening. So we see more social and affordable homes being built, and that is better than having no social affordable homes being built. If the market recovers from this stimulus, and I hope it does, then we have a mechanism in place to claw back higher profits and invest that in even more social and affordable homes. So the intention here is to build more social homes, not fewer. 35% of nothing is nothing, and we can't build no new homes for people to live in.
OK, just before we let you go, you talked earlier about removing those with no right to be here. Obviously, that didn't happen, did it, with Hadish Kabatu? There's an investigation now into his accidental release. We know that the father of the schoolgirl who was sexually assaulted feel massively let down by this. They feel infuriated. Has anyone from the government given them an apology, spoken to them about this yet?
Well, I'll apologise to them now through your show. I don't know whether my colleagues have been on the phone, but I completely understand their dismay, frustration, anger at what has happened. This individual should never have been released. All of our jaws were on the floor when we heard this. News. The Justice Secretary David Lammy will be making a statement in the House of Commons later today to take questions, but also to announce the new checks that we put in place to make sure this can't happen anymore. But the fact is, we know we inherited a broken criminal justice system. There were no places left in prisons for people that were given a custodial sentence in the courts. We know that 1/3 of the staff working in the justice system had been got rid of by the previous government. We know that they only built 400 new prison places in 14 years compared to 28,000 new prison places under the previous Labour government. We're getting back to building those prisons. We're getting back to recruiting the staff that we need. But the Justice Secretary will make a statement today in the Commons to explain what new checks will be put in place. So this does not recur. It must not recur.
OK, let's hope so. Steve Reid, their Housing Secretary, thank you.